Hello and welcome to the channel. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth. And I don't know if you're going to be able to guess this. It's the Kingdom of Colorado. It's the sixth Kingdom of Colorado. We are continuing our series of Colorado by Florian Wortmann. Now, I don't think Colorado was ever a kingdom. I guess technically, before it became a state of Colorado, it was part of the British Empire, which would have made it a monarchy. But yeah, I kind of have to keep stretching my definition of Colorado here. And really what came to mind, because of the rule set, which we'll take a look at in a second, is a king dressed in, well, every color that you can possibly imagine. Probably missing a little bit of blue, but I can see some sapphires on the crown. But other than that, yeah, really got it covered here. Well, let's take a look at the rule sets that's inspired a king and a kingdom. So we have Colorado 6 by Florian Wortmann, told you. And we have the following set of rules. So normal Sudoku rules apply. So that means the digits 1 to 9 in every row, every column, and every 3 by 3 box. Fairly standard for the regular viewers of this channel. Now, we have also identical digits cannot be a king's move apart. Now, the way I'm going to interpret this is, for example, if that's a 1, this cannot be a 1 that will break. And just think of it as a king's move in chess, where, in essence, a king can move orthogonally. That would normally block, obviously, repeating a digit under normal Sudoku rules. But a king can also move diagonally, so all of these now cannot be whatever that center digit is. Now, this is going to be quite helpful because unlike the majority of the previous Colorado series, there are no negative constraints on XVs. So it says cells separated by an X sum to 10. We've got many of these. So these two cells must add up to 10. And cells separated by a V sum up to 5. So these two, for example, these two cells must sum up to 5. However, not all X's and V's are given. So our normal use of negative constraints here is not really going to help us that much because, yeah, it doesn't necessarily help us fill in where else are we going to have low digits. Now, lastly, we have digits in the grid represent skyscrapers of that height. Higher skyscrapers obscure smaller ones. A clue outside a grid shows the number of visible skyscrapers in that row column from the clue's direction of view. So here is an example that I want to sort of give you. So we've got 3s. And the idea of skyscrapers is you should think of a digit, let's say 1 and 2. 1 here can be seen because it's the first digit in the grid. 2 can also be seen because it's higher than the previous one. Now, if I put a 9 in here, I've pretty much validated this 3 skyscraper clue because every other digit I will place after this is going to be lower than the 9 and therefore not visible. So think of it as the digit is essentially telling you the number of floors for that building. And then the idea is that you're looking directly at it and how many buildings can you see? And obviously any building that is lower in height than the previous one, you're not going to be able to see. So hopefully that is reasonably clear. I'm sure it'll be clearer as I get to play the puzzle. But if you're familiar with those and you want to give this a go, link will be in the description down below as per usual. And with that said, let me restart the clock and see how I get on. Now, tradition means I will still color V's blue or green. Now, if you've not seen these series before, the reason this works is essentially if you're trying to make a 5, you can either do 1-4 as a pair or 2-3 as a pair. Now, whichever one this is, let's say that's the 1-4, we know this V, which shares a cell in the same box, must be the other pair. The other thing that I will use is reds for high digits. If that's low, 1, 2, 3, or 4, this has to be high, 6, 7, 8, or 9 to be able to get to 10. And again here and there. Now this is green or red because we've already placed 2 blues. This has to be green because it's looking at a blue. So if this was two blues, we'd end up with three in the same row. Therefore, this cannot be green. This is not red. These are red. These are blue. These are also blue. You can see these two cells have to be low, but we've already placed the greens. That's a red. We've got two blues in here, only one green. That's a green-red pair. That's a green pair. It's got two blues looking at it. Red, red, blues, red. And here's a gift. That's a 5. We'll count this. It's a minute and a half. I mean, I haven't written the 5, but I don't necessarily intend to. Two greens looking at two blues. Two greens looking at a blue. That's got to be green. Right, you can see this has to be red. We've got two blues, two greens. This is not low. This has to be a red joint with a blue because we've already got two greens looking at it. Now, something I often used to find helpful, actually I can do one more. So this is red. You've got two greens, two blues looking at it. That's red. That's a low digit, but I can't actually tell which one it is necessarily yet. So what I was about to say is the other thing that I usually find quite helpful is coloring in the grid where no low digit can occur. And it will usually pay dividends. So for example, this column here, we've already placed all the low digits. So all of these, I'm just going to color as, is that different enough from the low? I think it is. So I'm going to stick with it. So essentially this means that it is not green or blue. None of these are. None of these are. So we have another green and blue. And note, because we don't have the same negative constraints, this absolutely can be blue. So this could be blue right next to the blue without a V connecting them. So we've got 1, 2, 1, 2. That is not low. None of these are low. We've already, I mean, I can go a step further. These are red because we know that this is a 5. None of these are low. None of these in this box. You can see we've got two greens and two blues. Same here. So that's the last green in this box. We've placed all of them in there. We've placed all of them in this row because we've got two greens and two blues in the box. So that's not that. Nor here. Now we need a blue in there, and we need a blue in here to finish up. We need a green somewhere in here. It's not there though. So there's a green somewhere in here. And there is two blues and a green. I'm not really sure how to show that, but you know, two blues and a green in there. Right, two blues. That was a green. Could have spotted that earlier. No worries. So two blues, two blues. We know that there is a green somewhere in here. So it's either two green as a column, depending on if this is the green, or greens that are sort of separated, which can be horizontal. Yeah, I'm fairly sure it could be horizontal or diagonal as such. So I think this is probably as far as we're going to be able to take it at the moment. What I'm going to do now is use letters, and those of you that have seen me do this before. Now I typically use B and C, A and D for the low digits. Almost think of it as 1 and 4. But the important part is that you're consistent. So an A is always paired with a 9. Think of it that I'm essentially rotating around the E in this piece of software. So whatever this digit is, the high digit is diagonally opposite. for now, I'm just doing a bunch of fairly obvious placements. Surely I can take this a bit further. So this is A or D. This is therefore F or I. A, D, A, D, F, I. I've got F, I, F, I, H. Place that for now. B and C together with, well, let me place a few more. That's a D, that's an F, that's an A, I, D, A. Well, yeah. You can see here the king's rule set is helping us. That can't be a D, that will break the puzzle, you can see. So that's A, D, A, D, I, well, not I. And this is G or H. This has to be C. So this is B and H. These two are, I am going to say E and F. And for the moment, I mean, if I put an F in here, no F's there, F would be here. But that seems okay. So what do we have left? We need to place a G, and E and F. That's not F. So that's either EG. That's not F either. That has to be the F. That's helpful because that's got to be in, well, actually not that helpful. This is E or G. Not an E. That's a G. E. Excellent. Presumably this will actually now help us start to place a few things. This G tells us nothing. So we need to place an E. This can only go in here. And to finish off this row, we needed an F, I believe. And this can only be an I. And both of these are red. Now to finish off, we need a GH in here. And we know that's a red as well, with G and H. I mean, it's going okay, but I was kind of hoping we'll be able to figure out a bit more, if I'm honest. So I'm sort of surprised we haven't been able to determine which one this is. Can't resolve it. Can't resolve those either. So we know what these are. So we've got A, B, C, D, E, F. We need G, H, and I. We need A and D in here. We must know what this last one is. G, I believe. That's not G. E is in here. Because you can see we need an E on this row, but this one is eliminating this cell. So E's there. Together, I'm going to say with G and H. And we need an I actually in this box, don't we? It can only be in there. And we need an F, and it can only be in here. No, it can't be. Excuse me. So it's not E, but it could be F and G. Not H though, because we've already placed that here. Has the I really been? Yeah, I think so. Okay. So I'm sure we can resolve some of this without having to look elsewhere. So we know we need an E with not, well, not I. So I is definitely here. Not H. Let me just pencil mark the options. So A, B, C, and D is done. E is here. F could be, but just here. G can only be here. H and I. I'm sure this is a lot more restricted than it may seem. This is not green, obviously, because we've got two of them looking at it. So this is A and D. This can be a C because of this. So that could be C or AD. And this is, unfortunately, any of them, really. No, I feel like I'm drifting away from what I really need to be solving. So I think we need to think through this a bit more systematically to figure out what is it saying. So let's think this through. If this is F, that will be G, that will be H, and this will be E. And actually, if this wasn't an E, I would need to place F, G, and H in 4 cells. So that has to be an E. And therefore this has to be, well, not E, but can we go a step further? We've got a GH pair now with a BC somewhere in here. Does the GH, okay, another GH again. GH, GH. Got a triplet in here. Is that really not resolvable? What about this? There you go. This cannot be an H. Because, let me show you. If that's an H, can't put an H in either of these, and it breaks this row. So, if I eliminate the H from here, this is an Fi pair. This has to be an H. G, F, G, G, H, and that's an H. G goes with C, B, no C's. But notice it has to be another green in here. That's a B. That's the green one. That's an AD. These are now red. I need to place a C. It can't be in here. That's the C. I need to place E and F, I'm going to say. F has to be up here because of this F. E. We need F and I together with a G. That's not the G. That's the G. I mean, they're both red anyway. But that's the G. This is F or I. Well, it's not I. That's F, I, F, D, A. That can't be F anymore. That's E, G. We're nearly there. Nearly there. Yeah, again, surprised, not resolved. Not a G anymore. That's a G. In fact, all of these are red anyway. What do we need in here? I'm sure we can place them. We need an I. Can't place that. And an A. Can't place that either. Right, let's see. We need to place a D, not E here, and an H. Have I got anything about H's? No. Kind of surprised I'm not able to place some of these. Right, greens, greens. I need 2 greens in here. I know the order of these. That's a B, that's a C. That can't be a B, that's an H, that's a B. And at least that's progress. And it should allow me to place some of these items. I'm just going to keep them all one color because I don't know where the E goes. In fact, kind of do. So what are these? We need an F. We know where this is. And we need an H, I'm going to say. We need an E and an I. Interesting. Not H here either. This H tells us this is an I, an H, not H here, so that's an F. Ooh, made a mistake. So that was E, H, and D, excuse me. Except neither of these is an H. This is not an E, that's a D. One of them is this one, E and H. Much better. That's an A, therefore that's an I, A, D, I, and E. Now, colors notwithstanding, these are all supposedly correct. Right. Time for some digits. Now, the only one that we actually know all along is the E, because you can sort of see immediately from this particular box. So if you really wanted to, you could have placed essentially a 5 probably within the first 10 seconds. But as I said, I sort of ignored that for now, because I usually find working with letters a little bit easier than just replacing them all at the end. Right. I'm going to say this F has to be 9, looking at the skyscrapers only. So you can see I've got one, whatever this digit is, whether it's 1, 2, 3, or 4, it's lower than 5. So that's 1 and 2. Now, if I have anything other than 9 in this cell, I'll be able to see more than 3 buildings in a row. Let's say that's the 9, that's an 8. That'll be 1, 2, 3, and 4. So F has to be 9. Therefore, D has to be 1, A has to be 4, I has to be 6. Need to look at the other end to determine what these are. You can see I've already placed a 6, so this is 7 and 8. And therefore, I'm essentially eliminated all the other options. You know, these are not visible because this digit is higher than 4, higher than C, higher than B, because they are from, you know, these are 2, 3. So the only way I can make 3 here is this is 7, this is 8, and therefore this is the 9th, this is the 3rd building that I can see. And that's the solution to today's puzzle. Beautiful puzzle, as usual, Florian. I mean, they play remarkably differently. You know, once you drop the negative constraint, you really do have to come up with a new way of solving it every time. But I really do hope that some of the other puzzles go back to the negative constraint. I immensely enjoy these. But I hope that if you enjoyed today's puzzle and today's video as much as I have. And with that said, see you back for the next one. Bye for now.